Cd27 Life Coaching with Iceflame. The Sacred Council, 27 out of 32. The guiding force of Iceflame. Iceflame, the guiding force of contraction and expansion. More or less, quantity or quality. I am the Devana Iceflame, one of the 17 balancing forces of universal nature, representing the fact that everything in Crystallia, the creation, contracts and expands. My colleague, Yin Yang, who represents the duality in everything, talks on a more broader scheme, whereas myself talk more a specific aspect of duality. I play a very important part in Crystallia and in the adventure of your life. Many of you are aware about the contracting and expanding force represented by the sun and the moon in your realm, and you take precautions in building bridges, installing windows, but you forget that everything is subject to these two forces. From the contraction and expansion of your heart, your muscles and cells, to what you eat, think, and do. By not tuning in and understanding these two forces, you will create endless, unnecessary struggle. From a soul point of view, which is your real you, all your energy expands into the world, but at the same time, the energy scatters. When you would meditate and be with your soul and your true self, you would be contract or closed off from the external world by becoming one-pointed and bringing all that scattered energy to one point. Quote, expand yourself, do not contract into your own tiny individuality. Sri Satya Sai Baba, end of quote. Realize the danger for letting all your energy go into the world without staying connected with Kandu, the creator, and your real self, your soul, because all the things and people of the world may bind you to the world of becoming attached to them. Once you are attached, you are contracting and trying to hold on to it. Quote, one develops attachments to the sense objects by thinking about sense objects. Desire for sense object comes from attachments to sense objects, and anger comes from unfulfilled desires. Bhagavad Gita, end of quote. This is another danger zone, as you contract your heart and hand because you think that you can possess things and people. Remember that nothing in this world is yours. Quote, love is expansion, self is contraction. Sri Satya Sai Baba, end of quote. You came without anything and will go without anything. All is just lent to you for a while. So experience these gifts that come and go and share all that is not yours anyway. Quote, the most important thing in life is to learn how to give out love and to let it come in. Morrie Schwartz, end of quote. You have become a consumer society. It is all about more and more, and by doing so, destroying your planet. Your planet is in stress. Your body, which is in stress. By trying to do too much, you prolong the expanding energy of the day too late in the night, and not giving your body enough time to recover under the energy of the moon, which contracts. Quote, expansion means complexity, and complexity decay. See Northcote Parkinson, end of quote. You consume mostly foods that went through a heating process, and only have the element of expansion, which you can see in the expansion of your body size, weak and flabby organs and muscles, and showing endless signs of disease. Like a person in pain whose body contracts. Realize that when you expand your organs and tissues, that there will come additional space, which will fill itself with waste. like having an extra room in your house which becomes a storage place of things you mostly do not use. You are chained by your desires for the things of the world and the slave of your conditionings, which you call pleasures. Quote, pleasures from external objects are wombs of suffering. They have their beginnings and their ends. No wise man seeks joy among them. Bhagavad Gita, end of quote. Expand your knowledge and awareness, but never think that you know anything, for the more you discover, the more you come to the realization that you know little. Quote, doubt grows with knowledge. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, end of quote. You have created jail after jail, closing yourself off in small rooms in your homes and offices, sitting in front of a TV or computer and trying to conquer the world. You live in a box and are disconnected from the true adventures of life. Quote, I would rather live in a world where my life is surrounded by mystery than live in a world so small that my mind could comprehend it. Harry Emerson Fosdick, end of quote. You think that you can do anything and are always on the move to do more, and not seeing the price you have to pay for all of this. Every item, gift, possession in your world goes together with obligations, which binds you and enslaves you. You think you are smart, but see what you have done and what you're doing to yourself, your health, your fellow man, and the world. Quote, the gratification of wealth is not found in mere possession or in lavish expenditure, but in its wise application. Miguel de Cervantes, end of quote. You have closed yourself off from nature, from a level of higher consciousness and the Creator. Reconnect with these aspects and you will think twice before you do anything. Be more by yourself and spend more time in silent prayer and meditation. Quote, if your mind is empty, it is always ready for anything. It is open to everything. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's mind, there are few. Shunryu Suzuki, end of quote. In your world, people become cold as ice. Their hearts harden, and at times I wish that my contracting force would not exist, because you are playing with it in the wrong way, just as you play with the force of expansion in the wrong way, by you just wanting all and all for yourself. Quote, the less you open your heart to others, the more your heart suffers. Deepak Chopra, end of quote. Most of you are living in your head and not coming from your heart, a heart which is hardened and which you try to bypass. Quote, your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens. Carl Gustav Jung, end of quote. Iceflame. Knowing me and knowing what to do with me. Let's see how you unnecessarily struggle with my force in various aspects of your life. How you could change your perspective and even make some practical changes. There are endless words that can be connected to any subject, and any subject can have many books because each subject can be approached from various perspectives or angles. Most important is not to forget that all that is said or written is merely an opinion, a truth and not the truth, because the spoken and written word is part of the creative world, created in opposites, constantly changing and bound to time, and there is always more that can be said or written about any subject. Regarding me and the Sacred Council members talking about any subject, know that this understanding applies to that information as well. The information is from our particular point of view and brought to you through the world of visionary and mystical fiction. But hopefully it contributes to your life and assists you to experience life in a more conscious, mystical, and magical way. By hearing or reading this information, you will come to the conclusion that you know this already, and you do, because this is part of your universal and spiritual inheritance. And often, we just need one word or a sentence that inspires and motivates us to do things differently or to think about a certain subject from a different perspective. Dealing with your real self, the soul. In regards to spiritual living, stay aware that when all your energy is going down and out into the creation, that you imprison your soul. Your energy expands and scatters itself to the things of creation, and the entrance to be in consciousness with the Creator contracts and thus closes. Quote, in Masters and Christs, the outward centrifugal force has been nullified, and the inward centripetal force has been developed. Maharaj Sawan Singh. End of quote. Stay in contact with your soul through silent prayer and meditation, and contract from the world and expand in your spiritual awareness. Quote, your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. Carl Gustav Jung. End of quote. To be in contact with the Creator is quality living, because you will know how to live in harmony and not wanting more and more. Quantity always goes at the cost of quality. Dealing with your mind. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that the mind has the capacity to let you experience endless realities and basically capturing you as a soul in its domain. It will not stop you expanding in its endless realities, and there is always more. Use the mind and get it on another track, and contract its outward tendencies through meditation and silent prayer. The secret of good living is to be found in quality and not in quantity. Become a better manager of the mind and guide it from the level of your soul. Quote, when the tendency of the mind is outward, it is attached with matter, and when it looks inward, it gets detached from matter and tries to know the spirit, which naturally has an inward tendency. Maharaj Sawan Singh. End of quote. Dealing with your body. In regards to dealing with your physical body, know that your entire body contracts and expands by itself. Not only your heart contracts and expands, but every cell and everything you think, eat, and do brings these two forces in action. The body contracts under the energy of the moon and expands under the energy of the sun as well, by the motions of the muscles and of course the external cold and heat. But when you do not understand this phenomena, you will run into unnecessary trouble. When you in your mind want more and more, and you consume foods that only expands, is it strange that your body expands? When you are hard on yourself, is it strange that your body hardens? When you do not give the body enough sleep, it will not properly function during the day. You can contract by thinking that all you see is all there is, or you can expand your consciousness. Quote, however, most people on the planet are not able to attain enlightenment. To reach enlightenment means to be able to completely let go of the ego and our worldly attachments. Masaru Emoto. End of quote. Dealing with communication. In regards to communication, Know that you can say too much or too little trying to get your point across. Know that you can speak with too many words, not getting to the point and confusing someone else. Know also that by saying nothing that you can say too much. Know that trying to keep on saying the same thing over and over again may not have any or a negative effect on the other. So make your way of speaking into a quality product and do not offend others, for they will get angry or they freeze. They stay open and expand their way of thinking, or they contract by closing off. Dealing with food. In regards to dealing with nutrition, be sure to consume more foods in their raw state as they have a balance between the contracting and expanding force. This way of eating is exercising the body from within. It is like the muscle of the food which is doing the same what the body is supposed to do, expanding and contracting. The entire body mechanism is created with these two forces. Just think about the heart, the lymphatic pump, and the peristaltic movements of your intestines. But everything works this way. Know, however, that foods, when going through any heating process, that they have lost the natural contracting force within them. Heat expands, and the foods will expand your body's systems and mechanism. Heat is the energy of the sun, which expands. These foods go slower through your body. The system starts expanding after a while and also start working slower and are less efficient. Just think about low blood pressure. When the body mechanism expands, there is also more room to store waste. And when waste sits too long in your body, it crystallizes, which is part of the contracting force and making things hard and tight. At this time, everything that goes through your system has to push itself through it because there is less room. Now, you can think about high blood pressure. Be sure to get up to 75% eating of raw foods into your body, or you will get confronted with the end result of consuming too much foods that went through a heating process, like explained before. Also eat more foods from your environment and go with the seasons that automatically bring balance. Just think about why you eat different foods in the wintertime and in the summertime. Think about spicy foods in the hot countries and fruits. They bring the natural contracting force of balance. Through your world of import and export and preserving foods in the most strangest ways, you are only about more and more money, more this and more food. These low energy foods take away from the quality of your life and you are suffering, and maybe it's time to focus more on quality and energy rich fresh foods. Quote, "We are living in a world today where lemonade is made from artificial flavors and furniture polish is made from real lemons." Alfred E. Neumann. End of quote. Dealing with staying fit. In regards to fitness, are you doing some kind of fitness activity in order to make up for sitting too much on chairs and in cars? Fitness is a great way to wake up the body systems and to keep them vital as long as you do not overdo it. Exercising is activating the pumping action of the contracting and expanding forces of the body. Without exercising, the tissues of your body become flabby or they become hard. Perform each movement in the best way possible. Aim for quality and not quantity. When you exercise, exhale during the action that costs most energy and inhale before. This balances the tension and prevents injuries. Exercise your body, but do not forget to exercise your spirit through meditation and silent prayer. Quote, prayer is exhaling the spirit of man and inhaling the spirit of God. Edwin Keith. End of quote. Dealing with your life partner. In regards to your relationship, know that there is always the possibility of more and more in every aspect of your life, for the mind is like an endless shopping center. Know that quantity always goes at the cost of quality, and for that reason you must decide what you would like to experience in your relationship. You do not need to deprive yourself of anything, but it is a line you easily cross and which will take you away from experiencing a quality relationship. Quote, the ultimate lesson all of us have to learn is unconditional love, which includes not only others but ourselves as well. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. End of quote. Dealing with your children. In regards to parenting, don't think that by giving your children more and more toys and the latest gadgets that you do them a favor, because you take away their creativity. Quote, if you want to see what children can do, you must stop giving them things. Norman Douglas. End of quote. It is all about keeping them busy and exposing them to everything, or is it also guiding them to be by themselves and enjoying the simple things of life? It is not about controlling your children and also not letting them do whatever they want, but guiding them how to live with quality in this world. Dealing with preserving the planet. In regards to taking care of the planet Earth, you are always so advanced with your inventions and dreams about the future, but you forget that you and the planet is going under by all of what you're doing. Quote, the last sound on the wordless Earth will be two human beings trying to launch a homemade spaceship and already quarreling about where they are going next. William Faulkner. End of quote. Use your mind and intellect for things that bring and preserve life, and be busy with quality instead of quantity. Dealing with the teenage years. In regards to the teenage years, realize that both parties, parents and teenagers, feel restricted, imprisoned, and want to break out, each in their own situation. You feel restricted and you contract, and then you burst out in anger or try to run away. It is just accepting where you are for the moment and having patience, for it will still be some years before teenagers can run into the world as they would like. Start to appreciate each other and try to find compassion and joy back in your life. Quote, find a place inside where there is joy, and the joy will burn out the pain. Joseph Campbell. End of quote. Dealing with getting older. In regards to dealing with getting older, are you realizing that the older you get, the more the body contracts and crystallizes? You need to stay flexible in your mind and do anything possible to keep your body flexible in order not to contract too fast and too soon. But inevitably your body will return to the earth. In the meantime, you can expand in your inner and spiritual wisdom. Quote, you are to isolate the self from the mind and matter, and then trace it to the source of all. Maharaj Sawan Singh. End of quote. Dealing with stress. In regards to dealing with stress, do you know that stress is the fire energy which actually expands but results in contraction? Two extremes always go hand in hand. From trying to do too much and too fast, the body defense expresses itself by contracting, which expresses itself in many forms of discomforts and pain. Try a more quality life, and the extreme stress and negative effects will become less. Quote, "It is the sign of a great mind to dislike greatness and to prefer things in measure to things in excess." Seneca. End of quote. Dealing with weight. In regards to dealing with weight, are you realizing that an expanded body is also expanded internally? An expanded body is mostly a result from a contracting state of being, such as being depressed, not liking oneself, unhappy with life, or feeling deprived. Feeling unfulfilled automatically seeks to be filled up, gathering too much and holding on and controlling too much. You go from a contracting into an expansion, and all your tissues expand, resulting in extra room for things to store. So clean up on all levels. Quote, "We are the cause as well as the effect." Peter Amato. End of quote. Dealing with disease. In regards to dealing with disease, do you really realize that disease is just a defense mechanism of the body contracting and bringing you the message of pain? You all have expanded in so many areas of your life, and you still complain. You have more than you need, you work too much, you eat too much, and things that are not gentle to your body. Know this, and the bucket of toxicity is filled up, and you still wonder why there is so much sickness. Cleaning and simplifying life in all its aspects is a must to really change things with long-term benefits. Be thankful for the message so you can start looking at life and living it differently, and possibly with and in quality. Quote, "We must embrace pain and burn it as fuel for our journey." Kenji Mizawa. End of quote. Dealing with emotions. Dealing with business. In regards to dealing with your professional life, are you always trying to expand your business and at the cost of quality? The loss of quality in your products, services is the loss of quality in your life and family. Know that there is a high price to be paid, for the machinery, staff, and yourself will need to defend itself through contraction. Breakdowns of equipment, losing focus, and losing health of yourself and the staff is inevitable. When is your mind going to say enough is enough? Quote, "It is the quality of your work which will please God, and not the quantity." Mahatma Gandhi. End of quote. Dealing with destructive habits. In regards to dealing with destructive habits and addictions, know that the network of destructive habits and addictions is endless until you stop it. Quote, "You can clutch the past so tightly to your chest that it leaves your arm too full to embrace the present." Jan Glidewell. End of quote. By getting more to quality living, you will automatically want to stop your destructive habits and addictions because they withhold you from quality living. Quality of conscious living and thinking and using positive words, consuming energy-rich foods, and doing good deeds will have no room for destructive habits and addictions. Dealing with studying. In regards to studying, know that you can be busy just with quantity by trying to do too much and wanting to grasp everything too fast, and as a result you miss out on studying with quality. When you are too fast and trying to do too much, your body, including your brain and nerves, will contract as a natural defense, and to absorb more will be very difficult. Studying too many hours without a pause will have that same result. Quote, when it is obvious that the goals cannot be reached, don't adjust the goals, adjust the action steps. Confucius, end of quote. There could be a tendency of wanting to know it all, but when you look at all your study subjects and their information, you know it's impossible. This is only possible when you reach a spiritual level of consciousness. Dealing with friendships. In regards to friendships, it is better to have one good friend than many who are not really your friends. Quote, a good friend is a connection to life, a tie to the past, a road to the future, the key to sanity in a total insane world. Louis Weiss, end of quote. Focus more on quality than on quantity and spend quality time with each other. Quote, associate yourself with people of good quality, for it is better to be alone than in bad company. Booker T. Washington, end of quote. Summary Iceflame. Iceflame, the guiding force of contraction and expansion. Many of you are aware of the contracting and expanding force, represented by the sun and the moon in your realm. You take precautions in building bridges and installing windows, but you forget that everything is subject to these two forces, which creates unnecessary struggle. I am Iceflame, in charge of the balancing force of expansion and contraction. And I remind you of this fact in every aspect of your life. From the contraction and expansion of your heart, your muscles and cells, to what you eat, think and do. I let you know how to tune into these forces of nature to better assist yourself. I make you aware of the ways you interfere with these forces and hopefully prevent you from unnecessary struggle. Summary. Everything in creation is part of a heartbeat. Everything contracts and expands. This phenomena keeps everything alive and operating. With most things you build and build with, you keep this phenomena in mind. Expansion is connected to heat, and adding and contraction is connected to cold and subtracting. And in various areas and aspects of your life, you seem to disturb the harmonious movement between them. Safeguard a better harmony between these two phenomena, affecting your mind, body, and your entire life. You can contract and expand with everything you think, say, and do, and all has a great effect in your life. Go for quality and not for quantity. In order to stay aware that everything contracts and expands, and that with everything you think, say, and do, you can reduce and expand, prepare yourself for the day of how you're going to approach life, others, and situations. And at the end of the day, write down your changes, how you handled things differently by having been exposed to the information about Iceflame. Affirmation. I respect and tune into the heartbeat of creation, in which everything contracts and expands. Petrus.